Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome once again to today's major political update. Right now, the entire nation is talking about one man, one statement, and one political message that has completely changed the conversation inside Zimbabwe's ruling circles. Christopher Mutsvangwa has spoken, and what he said has left many people surprised, worried, and deeply curious about what may happen next inside the country's political system. Over the past few days, tension has continued rising across Zimbabwe after strong remarks linked to succession politics, party unity, and the future direction of leadership inside ZANU-PF began circulating widely. The atmosphere has become intense because many citizens believe these statements are not ordinary political comments. Many people now feel there is something bigger happening behind the scenes. And viewers, if you have been following Zimbabwean politics closely, then you already know that whenever senior figures inside the ruling party begin speaking carefully but strongly, it usually means there are important discussions happening privately within powerful circles. Christopher Mutsvangwa is not just an ordinary politician. He is one of the most recognized voices connected to Zimbabwe's liberation history and ruling party politics. Over the years, he has remained highly influential, especially during moments of national political tension. That is why his recent comments immediately attracted national attention. Now, let us talk about what really happened. During recent discussions surrounding the future of Zimbabwe's leadership and the direction of the ruling party, Mutsvangwa strongly defended the idea that President Emmerson Mnangagwa should continue leading without distractions from internal political ambitions. He openly warned individuals believed to be pushing succession discussions too early and made it very clear that leadership conversations should wait until the appropriate time. The moment those words reached the public, social media exploded. Supporters of the ruling party immediately began debating the meaning behind his message. Some people viewed it as a direct warning to ambitious individuals inside the party. Others believed it was a strong attempt to protect unity and prevent divisions from growing worse ahead of future political transitions. But viewers, what made this entire situation even more shocking is that many Zimbabweans already suspect there has been growing silent tension between different factions inside the ruling party for a very long time. For months now, rumors have continued spreading about disagreements connected to future leadership plans, influence within government structures, and political positioning ahead of the next important political cycle. Even though many senior officials publicly deny divisions, ordinary citizens continue noticing subtle signs that everything may not be completely stable behind closed doors. And this latest statement from Christopher Mutsvangwa has only increased those suspicions. Many Zimbabweans are now asking difficult questions. Is there a growing battle over Zimbabwe's political future? Are powerful figures quietly preparing for future leadership changes? Or is the ruling party simply trying to stop unnecessary distractions before they become serious national problems? Right now, nobody outside the inner circles truly knows the full answer. But one thing is very clear: the political atmosphere in Zimbabwe has changed once again. As discussions continue growing louder, many citizens are now carefully analyzing every public appearance, every speech, and every political gathering involving senior ZANU-PF figures. People want to understand who supports who is gaining influence, and who may be losing political ground. And viewers, this is exactly why today's story has become one of the biggest political conversations in the country. What makes the situation even more interesting is the timing of everything happening right now. Zimbabwe is facing major economic conversations, rising public expectations, and growing pressure for leadership stability. Many citizens are more focused on jobs, business opportunities, stable prices, electricity, infrastructure, and improving daily life conditions. However, politics continues dominating the national conversation. Some Zimbabweans are now saying political leaders should concentrate fully on national development instead of allowing internal political disagreements to create uncertainty. Others argue that leadership discussions are normal in every political system and that citizens should not panic whenever different opinions emerge inside major parties. But viewers, in Zimbabwe politics, words matter a lot. A single statement from a senior figure can completely shift the national mood overnight. And Christopher Mutsvangwa's latest remarks have definitely done exactly that. One major reason why Zimbabweans are paying close attention is because of the country's political history. The nation has experienced dramatic political moments before, especially during periods when succession debates became louder inside ruling structures. Many citizens still remember how internal disagreements during previous years slowly became visible through speeches, interviews, public warnings, and factional narratives before major political changes eventually happened later. That history is why many people today are taking these developments very seriously. And as more reactions continue coming from different political voices, analysts are now divided over what all this truly means. Some political observers believe the ruling party remains fully united and that Mutsvangwa's statements were simply aimed at protecting stability while the government continues focusing on national goals. According to this view, the comments are part of maintaining discipline and avoiding unnecessary internal competition too early. But others believe the situation may be more complicated. There are growing suggestions that different groups inside the party may already be positioning themselves quietly for future influence. Even though nobody is openly declaring political battles publicly, some observers believe strategic messaging has already started behind the scenes. And viewers, this is where Zimbabwean politics becomes very fascinating. Sometimes the real political story is not always in what leaders say directly. Sometimes the deeper message is hidden inside the timing, tone, and direction of those statements. Citizens across the country are now carefully trying to decode what exactly Christopher Mutsvangwa was trying to communicate. Was he defending party unity? Was he sending a warning? Was he calming tensions? Or was he indirectly responding to growing internal political pressure? These are the questions dominating conversations everywhere right now. At bus stations, workplaces, universities, shops, and online platforms, Zimbabweans are discussing the possible meaning behind these developments. Some people believe the country is entering another sensitive political season. Others believe the situation will calm down quickly once party leaders regroup internally. But viewers, there is another important side to this story that many people are also discussing very seriously. Zimbabwe's younger generation is paying closer attention to politics than ever before. Many young citizens want transparency, stability, and long-term national progress. They are increasingly interested in understanding how political decisions today may affect the country's future tomorrow. And because of that, every major political statement now spreads extremely fast online. Within minutes, clips, quotes, reactions, and commentary begin circulating across social media platforms. Political discussions that once remained inside closed meetings are now immediately analyzed by the public in real time. That is exactly what happened after Christopher Mutsvangwa's comments surfaced. People immediately began comparing his latest statements with previous political events inside Zimbabwe. Others started revisiting old speeches, old alliances, and old political moments involving senior ruling party figures. Some even began asking whether Zimbabwe may eventually witness another major political reshaping in future years. Now, viewers, let us also talk about the issue of succession politics itself, because this topic has become central to the current national discussion. Succession politics simply refers to conversations about who may eventually lead after a current leader leaves office or finishes their political term. In many countries, succession debates happen naturally as political systems evolve. However, in Zimbabwe, succession discussions often become highly sensitive because of the country's long and complicated political history. That is why whenever influential political figures speak strongly about leadership continuity or future transitions, the entire nation immediately pays attention. And Christopher Mutsvangwa knows this very well. His political experience means he understands how powerful public statements can become, especially during periods when citizens are already speculating about internal dynamics within government structures. This is one reason why some analysts believe his remarks were carefully calculated. Not emotional, not accidental, but strategic. And viewers, another important factor making this story bigger is the role of perception. In politics, perception is everything. Even when leaders try to calm tensions, the public may still interpret messages differently depending on existing rumors and national mood. Right now, because many Zimbabweans already suspect hidden competition within powerful circles, any strong statement automatically becomes national news. That is exactly why this story has gained so much attention both inside and outside Zimbabwe. Even regional political observers are now closely monitoring developments because Zimbabwe remains one of Southern Africa's most politically influential countries. Stability inside Zimbabwe matters not only to citizens, but also to neighboring nations watching the country's direction carefully. Meanwhile, supporters of President Mnangagwa continue insisting that the government remains fully focused on national development and long-term economic goals. They argue that unnecessary political speculation only distracts from progress being made in different sectors. On the other hand, critics believe open political conversations are necessary in every democracy and that leadership discussions should not automatically be treated as division. So as you can see, viewers, opinions remain deeply divided. But despite all these different views, one reality remains undeniable. Christopher Mutsvangwa's remarks have successfully captured national attention and reopened major conversations about Zimbabwe's political future. And the truth is, many Zimbabweans are now waiting to see what happens next. Will other senior leaders respond publicly? Will tensions reduce quietly behind closed doors? Or will even more political statements emerge in coming weeks? Nobody knows yet. But judging by the level of public interest already surrounding this story, it is very likely that Zimbabwe's political atmosphere will remain extremely active for some time. Another thing making this situation more interesting is how carefully different political figures are now communicating publicly. Some leaders appear more cautious than before. Others are speaking in broader unity messages rather than direct political confrontation. That alone tells many observers that senior officials understand the sensitivity of the current atmosphere. And viewers, let us be honest here. Zimbabweans have become very politically aware over the years. Citizens now analyze leadership behavior very closely. They observe body language during events, seating arrangements, during gatherings, attendance at meetings, and even small changes in political language. Nothing goes unnoticed anymore. That is why even a short statement from someone like Christopher Mutsvangwa can dominate national conversations for days. Now, as this entire situation continues unfolding, many people are also wondering how all this may affect ordinary citizens going forward. Will political stability remain strong? Will government focus remain on economic growth and national development? Will unity inside leadership structures continue holding firmly? These are important concerns because citizens everywhere simply want peace, stability, opportunities, and a better future for their families. Most Zimbabweans are less interested in political battles and more interested in seeing practical improvements in daily life. They want businesses to grow, prices to remain manageable, infrastructure to improve, and opportunities to expand for young people. But unfortunately, politics often shapes everything else. That is why national political developments continue attracting massive public attention. And viewers, one thing Zimbabwe has shown repeatedly over the years is that political situations can change very quickly. Alliances can strengthen, relationships can shift, and national conversations can completely transform within a short period. Today, one statement dominates headlines. Tomorrow, another political development changes the entire conversation again. That is the reality of politics not only in Zimbabwe, but across many nations. Still, the current attention surrounding Christopher Mutsvangwa's comments proves one important thing very clearly. Zimbabweans are highly alert right now. People are watching, people are listening, and people are trying to understand where the country's political direction may be heading next. As we continue following this developing story, many analysts believe the coming months will become extremely important in shaping Zimbabwe's political atmosphere ahead of future national developments. Some believe the ruling party will eventually close ranks and present a stronger united front publicly. Others believe more internal discussions may eventually become visible over time. But regardless of which direction things move, today's political conversation has already reminded everyone of something very important. Zimbabwe remains one of the most politically dynamic countries in the region, and every major statement from senior leaders carries serious national weight. Christopher Mutsvangwa has spoken. The nation has reacted, and now everybody is waiting for the next move. Will this story fade away quietly? Or is this only the beginning of a much bigger political chapter still ahead? Zimbabweans are watching very carefully. And as always, we will continue bringing you every important development, every major reaction, and every key political update as events continue unfolding across the country. If you are following this story closely, keep paying attention, because Zimbabwe politics can change very fast, and the next major statement could arrive at any moment.